Hard to adjust to being married, yes. Even though we'd been together every night, we weren't together all night. And that's an adjustment. And then suddenly, I'm not the only one there. So I got to think, you know, you got to learn to think, which it took me a while to do this, to really accept that what I want is not necessarily, maybe she doesn't want that. So you better make that decision together. And I don't know, it took me a while to get used to that, but, and even today, you know, you'd say, well, I get the question, how come you didn't ask me about that? Well, you know, I don't think there's nothing of what's important to me. Okay, so maybe I have never learned to think about the other person. But what was the hardest adjustment? I think that's what it is, just getting used to thinking about two, not just one anymore. And our first apartment was a little old place over on Bond. It was a garage made into an apartment. So the bedroom, the kitchen, and the living room was all in one room. So, and the bathroom was over here. I was lucky we even had a bathroom off with a door in it. But anyway, that was a cute little place. But I think this was the place where Grandma thought the lady was spying on us all the time. Looking out her window to see what we were doing or something. I don't know, but we didn't stay there. We moved 2 or 3 times the first 3 months we were married because we were looking for a different place. I don't know why. That was a pretty cute place, except I think Grandma thought she was already looking at us. That was a place where Grandma made went to a lot of work in making a nice dinner. Now, I have to preface, well, I'll go ahead and tell the story. And she had one thing about it, Grandma had been taught very well by her mother cooking and such, and she knew how to put on a dinner and so forth because her mother was good at it. I had meat and potatoes all the time at home. So a real nice dinner like this was real nice. And it was very well presented on the table, and she just made it really nice. And it was really good, except for one thing. And that goes to the story about when I arrived overseas in Korea. For the first 3 or 4 months, our meat product was, I can't think of it. Oh, they're little tiny...
Spam?
No, not Spam. No, they're little tiny wieners like this.
Oh, yeah. The little, what are the mini hot dogs? What are those called?
No, it's something... sausage, some kind of a little sausage.
Vienna sausage?
Vienna sausage. We had those 3 meals a day for the first 3 months. 3 meals a day, and in the morning was dehydrated eggs and Vienna sausage. And sometimes we had it for lunch because the supplies wouldn't get through to us. Well, it was better than nothing, you know. However, that was the main course of Grandma's beautiful dinner. And she had never heard the story. But anyway, I saved it till after we had eaten it. And by the way, they tasted good. But I hadn't had them for several months. I've been out of the Army, and so we were both working. When we first got married, I was working for the telephone company here in Fresno. But we worked out of town occasionally. But we were home just about every night. But there were some nights the crew would be called out of town and I'd be out of town. And Grandma worked for an office company, and she was just a file clerk is what she was doing. And wasn't anything challenging to it, but she left that job and I left Pacific Bell, and that's a whole nother bunch of questions. Funny stories about first years of marriage. Yeah, that was probably the champion of all of them, was that first beautiful dinner. But funny times. We had a lot of funny times. There wasn't anything outstanding, that I can think of, but yeah. There were times that we had fun. Most of the time we had fun. We did. I think we had a lot of fun in our early marriage. Any funny stories about first years of marriage? Just that one. What advice do I have for newlyweds? Check out his likes and dislikes on for both of them, just so you don't show up giving him something that maybe an old boyfriend gave her that she couldn't stand, and now you bring the same thing, or she cooks something like something you can't stand. So find out their likes and dislikes so it doesn't show up and cause. That didn't really cause it, because it didn't upset me that much, But because she had put on such a beautiful dinner, and I always got something funny on our honeymoon. I kept getting lost. Well, no matter where we went, I was lost. And so when we ventured out sometime after that, any place we were going, I was constantly trying to find my way. And so that was about it. But it's been 63 years. Of full adventure. We've had some difficult times. I've had some job problems. And I've felt all the time that never any of it was my fault. When I was selling for different companies, I had about 3 companies that owed me money. That I had one company in particular that I was doing my own marketing, and it was successful. And I was selling, it was the early days of the copy machine. And I was selling a good machine for SCM Corporation. And I hit a market that was ideal for this one particular machine. And I was doing my own marketing on it. My average was running 3 out of 5 presentations. I was selling 3. And so there was a large commission check due me. Never came. It never came. And every time we'd get a weekly paycheck, I would get a statement from the company that I owed them $650, and then I owed them $1,300, and then I owed them all this. But never any of my checks did I ever get credit for any of mine. I had all the proof on it. And another company, I went into the same business. The machine they had was a terrible piece of junk, but it was a job. I had a little guarantee, paid the bills, and I was servicing some of it. There's always been something in there that kind of told me I should stop right now. But I didn't go out to find an area that I could make a living and go to school, and which is what my wife wanted me to do. But I didn't, because I just had the feeling that these were all experiences, because we'd gone into the church, and I'm looking for the promises, I'll give you guidance, and they didn't ever show up, in my opinion. But one day I was doing some limited real estate work, because I didn't have a license. I was studying for my license, and I had one more chance to get my license. I went to San Francisco to take an oral test with a guy, and I failed it. I don't know why. They didn't ever tell me why I failed it. But a couple of questions I stumbled on. But the thing of it is that when you're in real life, if you got a question you can't answer, you go right to a book. And you can go back to this person and say, this is how it is and so forth. But you're supposed to know that. And anyway, so we were active in the church. I had been baptized and working here and there, and it was miserable. And it wasn't. My wife and children weren't deserving it, especially my wife, with the pressure I was putting on her with fighting for income and such. And I went to President Levitt, who had a business right down here, and I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "Well, you know, real estate's Sunday work." I said, "There's a lot of guys that do real estate and they don't work Sundays." In fact, one day there's a preacher from another faith was in our office, same office as I was working out of, and I hadn't got my license yet. And so he came down and brought me some telephone numbers. And I said, "Well, aren't you in the office today?" He said, "Yeah, but I don't work Sundays." And I said, "Why are you expecting me to work Sunday?" They said, "I don't know. You work it out in your own church." And then he turned around and left. So, and that's what I approached President Levitt. I said, he said, "Yeah, it takes a lot of Sundays from you." Oh, those things preyed on my mind a little bit because my bishop was a doctor. Frequently, he'd go out and go see a patient on Sunday. You know, so I had to wrestle with those things, and I finally felt that someday you're going to get a spot where I can prove to myself and my company that I'm worthy of this, and I did. And I worked for this company for 18 years. In fact, I sold for a competitive company a short time, and the man that I was doing business with, one of my customers, wanted to do business with this other company and said they're looking for somebody, and I turned your name in to them. A short time later, I got a call from the national sales manager, said, "You have a good reputation down there, we'd like to hire," and I worked for them for 18 years. And the old hard luck came again after 18 years. So the company sold out and sold to a couple of two young guys, and they changed the whole system around and took everybody's income away from them by making certain accounts house accounts and so forth and so on. So, but as I understood what was going on the day that we first met, the one partner is they had bought a company cheap. They were going to show big profits by taking this all away from the salesman. They knew they would dump off the salesman because 75% of the income was the people that they took away. For every salesman, at least 75%. It was 73% in my case. So you're starting all over. If I'm going to start all over, come on, sweetheart. I might as well look someplace else, and that's what I've done. So, anyway, that's it.
The last two questions on marriage are up here.
Oh, this is the military. Have you got enough?
That's the last two questions, right? These two are on marriage.
Oh, the most important aspect of your marriage is the temple. Temple marriage.
Hi.
Hi, sweetheart.